Hello class. Today we're going to go over 2 common wrist grabs and a standing choke defense. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the top grab. Okay, so Emily would be my victim in this case. Her wrist is very accessible to me from grabbing from the top. It wouldn't be advantageous for me to grab her wrist from the bottom like this. It's a lot of work for me. As an attacker, as a criminal, as a predator, I don't want to work too much. Okay, I want to be able to access my victim, my prey, as easily as possible. So, with that said, I'm gonna grab from the top. All right. Watch how difficult it is for me to grab from the bottom. Okay, she's walking by. I'm gonna have to grab from the bottom. All right, very difficult. All right, so she's gonna play the attacker in this case, and I'm gonna play the victim. Okay, I'm gonna be walking by. She's gonna grab the wrist from the top. It's important that I have my thumb pointing up towards the sky. Okay? It might seem counterintuitive, but I'm going to go ahead and step into the attacker with my lead foot, lead hand. Okay? So I'm going to step into my attacker. I'm going to close the distance. This is going to weaken her grip. All right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my thumb towards my shoulder. My thumb towards my shoulder. All right? And that's gonna break her lock on my wrist. Okay, so let's look at that one more time. She's grabbing from the top. She's grabbing pretty hard. I can't see my hand, but it's turning red and purple here. Okay, she's grabbing pretty tight. I'm gonna step in towards her, and I'm gonna bring my thumb towards my shoulder. Okay? You can think about it in another way too. I'm going to bring my elbow towards her elbow, my elbow towards her elbow. So thumb towards my shoulder or my elbow towards her elbow. Whatever makes it stick for you. Okay, so she's grabbing on tight. And I'm stepping in towards her. At the same time, I am bringing my elbow up towards her elbow. All right? Again, some things to think about here. My thumb is pointing up. Sometimes that is very difficult to do depending on how big your attacker's hands are, all right? And depending how strong you are, okay? But try to get that thumb pointing up as best as you can. Will it always happen? No. Will it still work without your thumb pointing up? It will, okay? What's gonna make this a lot easier for you to handle is stepping towards your opponent. All right, so you really have to step in towards your opponent. That's going to weaken your opponent's grab on your wrist. All right, so that's an important thing to think about. And lastly, you just want to bring that elbow towards your opponent's elbow, or think about putting your thumb towards your shoulder, same side. All right, so that's your common wrist grab. Common questions that I get, well, is it going to work if your opponent's opposite hand or same hand grabs my wrist? It will, okay? It doesn't make a difference. Okay, this is the beauty of this move, this technique, this skill. Unlike other skills you learn in other martial arts, where you have to be held in a certain position, this will work any side, any hand, okay? So she's grabbing same side, opposite hand, right? So she's gonna grab on pretty tight. I'm gonna step in towards her, and I'm gonna bring my elbow towards her elbow or my thumb towards my shoulder. All right? So that's your common wrist grab here. All right, class, we're gonna go over wrist grab number 2. All right? Wrist grab number 2 is just like number 1. All right? So what I would like you to do is, if you have a partner at home, okay, I want you to go ahead and have your partner grab you with both hands. It doesn't matter which wrist. Okay, both hands, and grab pretty firmly. Okay, grab pretty firmly. So I'm gonna have Emily grab my wrist with both hands. Okay, and she's gonna grab pretty strong. She's a really strong woman. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to step forward and bring my elbow towards her elbow and my thumb towards my shoulder. I might be able to do it, but it's gonna take a lot of effort. It's gonna take a lot of strength. All right. So oftentimes, an opponent will grab your wrist with both hands and start to drag you towards the direction they want. Maybe an alleyway, maybe into their car, maybe into their van, so on and so forth. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to have leverage over my opponent. Okay. So same thing. I want to have my thumb pointing up towards the sky. I want to take a step towards my attacker. I'm going to make a fist with the hand that's being held, and with my opposite hand, I'm going to go ahead and grab onto that fist. Alright? And part 3, I'm going to bring my elbow towards her elbow, any one, or I'm going to bring my thumb or my fist towards my shoulder. Okay, so she's going to grab on and hang on pretty tight. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and bring my elbow up. Alright? There we go. So one more time, both hands on wrist. Okay, make a fist step forward. And bring my elbow up towards your elbow. Alright, that's wrist grab number 2. Alright class, next we're going to do a standing choke. Okay, 2 hands on my victim. Understand that my victim, there's nothing behind her. Okay? There's nothing behind her. There's not a table behind her, there's not a wall behind her, there's no bushes behind her, there's nothing behind her. Okay? So take that into consideration. We're going to go over a lot of different chokes this semester and how to defend against them. This particular defense will not work for other chokes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Alright? With that said, if you have a partner at home, you're going to have your partner grab onto your throat here, but you're going to keep the thumbs loose, okay, for right now until you get the hang of it. Another way you can do it is you have these muscles here, they're called the traps, trapezius, okay, and you're going to go ahead and grab those, and you can grab those pretty firmly, okay? It's the same concept, alright? So I'm going to have Emily grab onto my shoulders here, my traps, and I'm going to have her grab on pretty firmly, alright? Nice and strong. So I'm going to pick a leg to step forward. Okay? A leg to step forward. It doesn't matter if it's your left leg or your right leg. You're just going to pick one. But right now, I'm going to pick my left leg. Okay? That means I'm going to move to the direction of that front leg, that front foot. Okay? So from here, what I want to do is I want to protect my face. I'm going to put my hands up towards my head here, and I'm going to make kind of like a pyramid with my hands, okay? This is going to do a couple of things. First thing is it's going to protect my face from my attacker headbutting me or jamming their forehead into me or biting me or whatever it is, okay? Secondly, it's going to help to prevent my attacker from bringing her arms closer together and really tightening that vice grip that she has on my neck. Okay, so again, I'm going to bring my hands up. Okay, it's going to look like this, and I'm going to do my best to pry her arms apart. The likelihood of me doing that is very low, but I'll be able to keep her arms apart for a little while. Okay, in most cases, the attacker is significantly stronger and larger than the victim. Okay, so my hopes of fending off the attacker with my brute strength is very low. Okay, with that said, she's going to grab onto my trap here. I'm going to put my hands up, and this is important. I'm going to take a step underneath her arm towards the direction of my front leg. Okay, I'm going to bring my head down, but I'm going to keep my eyes facing towards my opponent. I'm never going to bring my eyes down towards the floor. I'm going to bring my head down, and I'm going to take a step. Okay? In this position. And then I'm going to have my hands open. We'll talk about what to do next later on in the semester. But for right now, let's just get out of a bad situation.